Last week I posted part 1 of 20 ways to romanticize your life and live in abundance. And today I'm coming at you with part 2. And the best part about this is that just like the first video, most of these things are completely free. So this way you're not left feeling like you need to go buy XYZ item in order to be happy, in order to start to romanticize your life. Because a lot of us can fall for the trap of thinking or feeling like we need to have the perfect house or that dream job, or in my case, that big lawn with the Great Pyrenees in order to start to live life in this sort of mindset. That's definitely not the case. You can romanticize your life at any phase of life that you're in. But it's also not necessarily coming at it from have this particular aesthetic or have this particular item in order to be happy. It's more about the little tiny habits, little tiny changes that we make on a day-to-day basis to get you to savor your life and just squeeze as much joy as possible out of your days. For those of you who are new, I'm Yesi. I'm a previous hospice nurse turned homeschool mom, and my mission is to help you savor life. I definitely talk a lot about minimalism and intentional living, but my approach is what I believe to be a holistic approach. It's not just focusing on decluttering and minimizing stuff and working on an aesthetic and making a home pretty. And I love me some minimalist aesthetic, but if we're only talking about the decluttering and what we do with our stuff, we are only scratching the surface. We need to get to a much deeper level than that and talk about our mindset and habit changes. And so that is where I love to talk about. As somebody that worked within hospice, I wanted to get to the core. I wanted to talk to people about the things that they were struggling with and to really get beyond that superficial level with people. So I hope that that translates into this channel so that way we're not just talking about the appearances and the superficiality of minimalism, because if that's all we're doing, we are approaching it from the wrong direction. So if this sounds interesting to you and minimalism and intentional living through this approach is something that you're interested in, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss when I post a new video. All right, let's get started. Number 1 is going to sound a little bit weird, but it is super, super important if you are struggling with worthiness. And this is to look at yourself in the mirror, look at your eyeballs in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself every day. And the reason why is because romanticizing life is all about seeing the beauty in the details. I dare say that it's going to be pretty darn impossible to see the beauty in life if you can't see the beauty in your own self, if you can't love your own self and see your own self-worth. And a lot of the times when we are going through our life and doing whatever we're doing, we're just going through the busyness, we often tend to have negative thoughts of ourselves. We can often be our own detriment and be our own worst enemy, be our own worst critic. We tear ourselves down. But when we have that moment, when we're looking in the mirror, we are looking at our reflection. If we could see ourselves the way we see a best friend, the way we see our child, the way we see somebody that we love, that we want to encourage, that we want to lift up, if we can see the goodness in them, their good values, and we can also see their flaws, we can see that they've made mistakes, but we can see their heart, then that's going to change. That's going to transform the way that we view life. I definitely believe that romanticizing life comes from within. It's not necessarily decluttering and moving things around and shifting our rooms and doing all those other things. Those things can definitely help. They can definitely have a better aesthetic, and beauty is inspiring. I've mentioned that in my previous video, but I definitely feel like it comes from within, and you have to start from loving yourself. And a lot of people struggle with self-worth. And to be able to work on that, this can be a really powerful exercise. I definitely was one that struggled with feelings of worthlessness, of loneliness, and I felt like, I've mentioned this in the past, like I had to put on a full face of makeup with the extensions and hair extensions and lashes and all the things in order to feel like I was worthy. And I was definitely a people pleaser, and I felt like if I did XYZ, then maybe I deserved to be loved. And if I behaved in a way where I made somebody upset, then all of a sudden I wasn't worthy of love. And that was so, so wrong. I hate for anybody that is feeling that way to feel like there's no way out of that, because there is. And it starts by starting to love yourself the way that you show other people love. So don't discount this one. I definitely feel like of all, this is probably one of the most important, because you cannot start to show love to other people when you are running on empty. And this is really powerful for a lot of people that really struggle with loving themselves the way they are now, especially if you're feeling like, okay, when I have that job that I'm trying to have, then I can be happy. Or when I have that particular weight, then I can love myself. Or when I look a specific way, then I can be happy. If you're trying to look for a certain phase of life in order to love yourself, then you're never, ever, ever going to get there. Or, I mean, you might get to that step, but emotionally, you're not there. And so this is super important, is to start by loving yourself. Start by seeing the beauty in you, flaws and all, and it will radiate into every single aspect of your life. Number 2 is to go on dates with yourself. To get dressed up and treat yourself like you would want somebody else to treat you on a date. And this can be for people that are in a relationship, like with me. I'm married and I have kids and I go on dates by myself sometimes. And I absolutely love it. This is a chance for me to be able to browse through a boutique, to order a pastry and not have to worry about wiping my toddler's mouth. And to be able to explore and be creative and still have that like childlike attitude, especially now that I am married with kids, to be able to have some time for me and to love myself in that way is beautiful. But I especially love it for people that are single, wanting to be in a relationship. Because what can often happen is we might tend to feel like, well, in order to be able to have that experience, I need to wait for somebody to come along and scoop me off my feet and then be able to have those experiences. And I actually just recommended this to somebody recently. She was single and wanting to be in a relationship, and I said, well, why don't you dress up? Why don't you take yourself to that beautiful restaurant? Why don't you order dessert for yourself and treat yourself? Treat yourself like a queen. And she did this, and she said it was such an awesome experience to be able to dress up and go and take the valet parking. Now, you don't have to splurge. It doesn't mean that you have to spend a whole bunch of money. A lot of times what I do is I'll just like browse boutiques, and I love shopping at different like small towns, not necessarily like shopping, but just the experience of going there and seeing all the different things and just, again, like exploring, going to a different park, things like that. So it doesn't have to necessarily cost you money. The point is that you are treating yourself, that you're taking yourself out, that you're dressing up for you, for nobody else but you. And you're taking that time to be able to just tap into that childlike curiosity. Number 3 is one that I absolutely love. It's to declutter. Decluttering for me has honestly become like a hobby. Like I actually enjoy it. Kind of like that rush of buying something has now become my rush of getting rid of stuff. But now as I've been decluttering more and more, I'm like, okay, so I feel like I'm running out of things to declutter. So I need to like start like working on helping other people declutter, because I'm running out of things to declutter. So the reason that I love this so much is because when we are focusing on having more and having that consumerist mindset, we tend to feel like it's because we don't have enough yet. And let me say that it's not a bad thing to want more things, and our life will change, our phases will change, we'll have different hobbies, we might have kids, we might have pets, we might change jobs, we might move. A lot of things in our life will change, so we might need more stuff. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with needing more stuff. It's a fact of life that we will need different things, different products throughout our life. And that's okay, and we shouldn't guilt ourselves and beat ourselves up for that. But at the same time, if we're constantly focusing on, I want this, I want that, I want that, and I need this, and I need this, and I need this, then we're also not focusing by default on, I have this, I have so much, I have a lot to give. And what we can do in order to help with that, in order to help relieve that scarcity mindset, is to declutter. One of the things that really helped me, because I really struggled with this shopping addiction, and my shopping addiction really stemmed from feeling of loneliness and worthlessness. I felt that if I had stuff, then I wouldn't have to go out and face people, because I was diagnosed with social anxiety at that time. And it was easier to say I have a hobby of shopping than to go out and meet people and go out and talk to people, because that made me sweat, it made my heart beat faster, it made me super anxious. I felt like I didn't know what to do with my hands because the body language thing just didn't come to me naturally. It doesn't, you have to learn that. But basically, I was trying to mask these feelings that I had with shopping, with stuff. And when I started to remove the stuff, focusing on who can I give this to? Who can I bless this with? How much money can I make off of this treadmill? Like, for example, those things. When I started to remove the stuff in my life, I started to find that I was no longer bound to those things anymore. That now I wasn't focusing on having the next thing. And I think that if you are struggling with scarcity mindset, decluttering will help you out tremendously. And it has other benefits too, like you're gonna have a more organized space, you're gonna have an easier time to find things, you're not gonna have as many things to manage, it's gonna free up your time because now you don't have to clean as many things. So it has so many benefits, and it frees up a lot of your time, which that way you will be able to devote to the things that you love. Number 4 is to make your space cozy. A lot of times we might not want people to come over to our home because we feel like it's chaotic or it's just a big mess and they're gonna see that. Or we spend a lot of time out of our home because we don't like the feeling that we have when we're at home and we feel like stressed. But when we start to declutter, first of all, and remove all the junk, remove all the excess and the things that don't really matter to you, the things that you don't really use, then we have a wonderful functional space to be able to work on making it cozy. I have a separate video on how to make your home cozy on a budget, so I'll link it down in the description box below so that you can check it out after this one. But I think it makes a huge impact because whenever you set an intention for a room, it really makes it so that you're curating your home. And you're having those pieces that matter the most to you. So for example, the bathroom, if you're wanting the bathroom to be more of a relaxed space, a cozy space, then what you can do is remove a lot of things that are stimulating, like high energy colors or decor. So that way you're feeling more of a relaxed vibe. It definitely can have a big impact. It can make you feel a lot happier in the space that you're in. And if you don't already spend a lot of time at home, it just might make you want to spend more time at home because you feel happy there. Use up the nice things. If you have that perfume that somebody gave to you that's really expensive and you're not using it because you're afraid to use it up, or you have that beautiful makeup palette that you're just wanting to put on your eyes but you just don't want to ruin it because it's so pretty, use those things. Use those things because you are worthy. And when you have those nice things that you are not wanting to use because you are afraid of them running out, what you are saying to yourself subconsciously on a subconscious level is, I am not worth these things, so I am not going to use them, so that they maintain their value. What you are doing is you're putting that thing, that makeup palette, that perfume bottle, on a pedestal like it is worth more than you. That's wrong. It's wrong, it's a mistake, it's a lie. You are worthy, you are worth the ability to use up those nice things. And when you start to use the nice things, what you are doing is, if you at least don't believe it now, you are telling yourself on a subconscious level, I am worthy. No, I am going to use this thing because I do matter. That again, it comes back to that self-love thing. So when you start to use up those nice things, do it with love and don't feel guilty at all. And if it runs out, hey, that means that you got the joy out of it. You got to enjoy it. So don't be afraid to use up those nice things. Number 6 is to adopt an abundance mindset. This one kind of encompasses all the points together, and it really is one that takes a lot of practice. It's taken me a long time to really work on this, and I'm still working on this. But I do feel like two of the things that really helped is hand in hand, giving and gratitude. Gratitude because you're being able to give thanks for the things that you have now and the phase of life that you're in now. And then also giving because it's releasing and letting go. It's letting go of that worry, letting go of that anxiety, that if I let go of this particular item or this money or this time that I have, then my needs will be met. It's almost like trusting. Or maybe you don't necessarily believe it now. Maybe you do have that scarcity mindset now, but when you let go, when you release, what you are telling yourself subconsciously is, I trust my needs will be met. I will be able to have whatever it is that I want, even though I give this to this other person. And so it's super powerful because what you're doing is like you're priming that subconscious for positivity. So if this is something that you're wanting to work on, be sure to check out that other video. Number 7 is to take breaks and create for fun. This means that we don't always have to focus on the productive thing and doing and reaching that next goal and making that certain amount of money. And I'm not saying that making money is a bad thing. Money could definitely be used for a lot of good things, and it definitely pays the bills, so we need to focus on that. But we don't always need to focus on productivity. I think that it's beautiful to find a lot of different videos on productivity and how to live a productive life and things like that. But when we're constantly focusing on that, when we're focusing on that all the time, what we're doing is we're really deplenishing our creative energy because we're telling ourselves that we always need to be in that mode. We can't always be in that mode. Sometimes we just need to slow down and relax. And especially as a woman, I'm realizing more and more that the cyclical nature of like menstrual cycle. It also has different effects on my mood, my energy, and my creative energy as well. And sometimes I have a little bit more energy and I can do like a upbeat workout and I want to do a lot more things and go out. And sometimes I just want to slow down and I want some rest and I want some time to journal and read and just kind of think, not necessarily doing. And I think that in life in general, we have phases. And so it's beautiful to honor that and not always be stuck in that productive mindset. Number 8 is to use candles and or fragrance. Romanticizing life is really about also incorporating the senses and being able to use smell, touch within textures, for example, like the blankets that you have in your home, and smells within your home, the lighting in your home. So candles can be a beautiful way to be able to incorporate that coziness into your home. Personally, I don't have things that are scented, and if I do, it's more of like things with essential oils, things that are non-toxic, that are just more natural, so I try to be mindful of that. But just having something that's like flickering in the background, that's adding that warm light, that yellow light, rather than like the constant like office light feeling, will make your space feel so much cozier. I currently don't have any candles that are naturally scented because a lot of them are like really pricey. So personally, I have battery operated candles that basically light on a timer every single day. But I love this. I love this cozy feeling that just makes me feel a lot more relaxed at home. Number 9 is to be mindful of the things that we watch or listen to. We become the things that we constantly think, and what we watch and what we hear on the news or wherever has an effect on our thoughts. They have an effect on even our body. Whenever we're watching like the news, for example, or we're watching that somebody shot this person and this person intruded and broke into somebody else's house or whatever, we're watching negative things or scary things, like we're watching a horror movie, for example. What it does is it's raising your cortisol and it's raising those inflammatory hormones, and those inflammatory hormones could then make it harder for you to go to sleep, and it can make you feel a little more anxious during the day. I definitely have been more aware of that ever since we quit the TV and we no longer own a TV, is that my husband would every now and then want to watch like action movies, and particularly, I don't really like action movies unless they're like war movies, like historical movies, just for appreciation of history and the people that actually went through those things. Other than that, I don't like to watch like sci-fi scary movies or anything like that, because I've noticed in myself the effect that it has on my body. Not necessarily that I'm afraid in that moment, because I know it's not real. Like, I'm an adult, I know that it's not real, but still it affects my sleep at night. Like I notice I'm a lot more attuned to that it makes it harder for me to sleep at night, and then I'm just a little bit more on edge during the day. And we might not realize it if we're constantly consuming negative content. We're constantly in this like just receiving, or even music, for example. I have definitely changed the way that I listen to music. I used to listen to music from back in the 2000s just because it reminded me of the phase of life that I was in back in the day, and I thought that the beat was fun, and really honestly it was just because it had more of a sentimental value because of it reminded me of that phase of life. But when I really analyzed the lyrics of the music that I was listening to, and I realized this is degrading to women, this is disrespectful to me, and I'm listening to this and allowing that person to make more money off of degrading women, off of disrespecting women. I'm finding that I have a lot more peace and calm now that I'm curating the things that I listen to, the things that I watch, to be that of things that are inspiring, things that are motivating, things that make me feel more creative. So just analyze the things that you watch. What is it that you want out of life? What is it that you want to be able to learn more of? And curate those things. So maybe unsubscribe, unfollow, actually go through your subscriptions and see what is the motive behind them. If it's just entertainment, I mean, maybe you can allow yourself some time for that. But if you're wanting a certain result out of your life, then try to curate the people that you're subscribed to, or even just the content that you're consuming, for the life that you want to live. Because watching endless TikToks on entertainment purposes that are meant to be funny isn't really going to help you be more creative, isn't really going to help you be that person that you want to be. And lastly is to find inspiration. If you've heard the saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, get this. Statistics have actually shown that it goes way beyond that. Factors like your weight and your finances are closely related to your peers. And not only that, but the friends of your friends. To me, this is mind-blowing. And why do I say this? Because chances are, if you're trying to focus on living an intentional, slow, romanticized life, you're an oddball. And I say this from personal experience. Constantly, I've had acquaintances ask me, why are you dressed up today? And because I'm sure they're not waiting on a 30-minute conversation about this topic, I end up saying something stupid like, because it's Tuesday? I don't have a lot of friends that I can say have the intent to romanticize their life, but just as an adult friendships just tend to be different, and because of distance or conflicting schedules, I can go for months without actually seeing or spending time with those people. But when I do spend time with these individuals, I end up feeling inspired and motivated. But I've also found that carefully curating the content that I consume to match the life that I want to live to be immensely helpful. Sure, I'll probably never actually meet the people that I follow online, but I still gain their insights and their perspectives. And if you find yourself with friends and family members that have a scarcity mindset, it will be super helpful for you to do things like reading books, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos that are focused on the life that you want to live. So hopefully this video has done that for you and has given you some value and some positive encouragement. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.